Hi, welcome to another video here on the Sam Cooks Kindness YouTube channel. Today we are celebrating my 6-year veganiversary. Veganiversary. Vegaver, vegan, vegan anniversary. I have been vegan for 6 years, and today I wanted to do a little bit of reflecting, and I thought I would do a video telling you the 5 mistakes that I made when I went vegan. So let's talk about it. All right, so to give you a little bit of background, I went vegan initially for health reasons. And I know that's not what our environmental vegans and for the animal vegans want to hear, but don't worry, I am vegan for all of the reasons right now. So it began with health reasons. I was listening to the China study on audio tape, and my husband overheard the part about where Dr. Campbell is talking about how a plant based diet can lower your cholesterol. And at the time, neither of us were very healthy. We both had high cholesterol. Mine always was, from the age that they started checking it, it was always on the higher side, around 200, even from a younger age. So I always struggled with that. We had a lot of cheese and eggs in our diet, and we're prone to high cholesterol because of genetics as well. So he heard that and he decided he wanted to give it a try. And of course, I jumped on it right away because I have always liked the idea of veganism and having somebody to support me along that journey. I was not going to say no. So we went vegan at that point, initially for health reasons. And we stayed vegan for environmental reasons and for the animals, because once you start going down that rabbit hill and learning a little bit more, it becomes much bigger than just yourself. So that is how I went vegan. That is how I stayed vegan. I am vegan now for all of the reasons. And we're going to talk about the mistakes that I made when I went vegan. So, mistake number one, the first mistake I made was that when I went vegan, I got overexcited and I just believed that anything that was vegan was healthy. And I think that's a mistake that we all tend to make when we first go vegan. I think we get excited. We see vegan things that replace our favorite old foods like vegan chicken patties and vegan steaks. And now there's vegan shrimp and vegan spam and vegan everything. But it may not be the best for you. Um, so it's something to keep in mind. I definitely went a little bit crazy with just buying everything that was vegan because I thought it's vegan, it's good for me. And honestly, switching from my standard American diet to a vegan diet, it was a couple months after my second child, and I did lose weight, even though I still ate those things that, now I know maybe were not the best for me, but I thought they were because they were vegan. So, mistake number one was not everything is healthy just because it's vegan. Mistake number two kind of piggybacks off of the first mistake. You know how I said I just bought everything because it said it was vegan? Well, eating vegan can be expensive. And I know this is like a controversial thing to say because everybody likes to be like, veganism isn't expensive. And it's not, but it can be, just like everything else. So if you go to the store and you're flipping through the freezer section or like the fancy like health food section, and you're just picking up all these things that are labeled vegan or plant-based, or they have that really good marketing, you're going to spend some money, like especially if you're like buying some of those processed meats and the frozen stuff. I mean, it's crazy. And I'm sure if you're watching this video, maybe you can relate to that, but you have to be aware of what you're doing, because when I first went vegan, I bought all the things and my my shopping bill went through the roof. I don't even remember what it was, but I quickly realized that I can't just get overexcited in the grocery store and just buy all the labeled vegan things and plant-based things just because I got excited and I wanted to try them, because it was making my bills super high. So that is mistake number two. But just a note on that, veganism does not need to be expensive. If you are focusing more on a whole food plant-based diet like I currently do, it's not that expensive. Your produce, your rice, your beans, these are all things that are affordable foods and are easy to keep your bills down. So as long as you're not focusing on those like ultra processed vegan foods, it doesn't have to be a expensive way of life. Moving on to mistake that I made number 3. Once again, this kind of piggybacks off of the idea that I was just so excited. I was so excited to be vegan. I wanted to try all the things. Mistake number 3 was that I focused way too much on complicated recipes. I have always been a foodie. I wanted to figure out how to make all my favorite foods vegan. At the time, I bought all of the cookbooks that I could, which isn't necessarily a bad thing when you're learning. But if you spend too much time on complicated recipes, it's going to be a huge roadblock, especially if you're really serious about being plant-based or about your health and trying to make a lifestyle that's going to work for you. If you're going to focus on complicated recipes, you're going to eat up all your time and you are not going to be motivated to continue with that. You got to keep things easy. You have to find things that you like. And I know it's exciting when you first go vegan, and even now it's still exciting to find recipes and to try new things. But if you're spending too much time in the kitchen, you're not going to stick with it. So that is why mistake number 3 was don't make overcomplicated recipes, at least not too often. On to mistake that I made number 4. I didn't realize that I really didn't know how to read labels. Or it wasn't that I didn't know how to read labels. It was more of the fact that I didn't realize I was going to have to read labels as much as I do as a vegan. So when you first go vegan, the label is your best friend. Oftentimes, there is milk in everything. Why? Why is there milk in everything? That was one of the most frustrating things, and still is the most frustrating thing. Why do we need to put milk powder in something? Like, you realize as you read more and more labels that there's a lot of things that aren't vegan that really should be vegan. Like, there's really no reason why it shouldn't be. So mistake that I made number 4 was that you have to learn how to read labels. There was a few times in the beginning where I had a slip up where I didn't realize that I was eating something that I thought was vegan that wasn't vegan. And it happens to all of us, especially in the beginning. So don't freak out if you make this mistake. Just know that it comes with practice. When you're grocery shopping, it might take a little bit more time in the beginning to look at those labels, but it is important to know what's in your food. And a perk is, I'm going to throw in there, is that on a whole food plant-based diet, this isn't as big of a deal because most of the things you're eating don't come with labels. Fruits, vegetables, sorry, that was my dog. Fruits, vegetables, like pastas. I mean, sometimes you have to look at the pasta labels because sometimes they'll sneak egg in there. But rice, beans, things like that, oftentimes you don't really have to worry about that as much. And it makes it a lot easier if you focus on whole foods because you know exactly what is in there and you don't even have to read the label. But practicing reading labels is a big thing. So make sure you're looking when you're shopping. Mistake number 5, or more like advice for something to avoid for number 5, which is something that I dealt with when I first went vegan. You have to learn how to ignore the trolls. You have to ignore the people online that are judging you, that are telling you negative things. I don't know. But listen, the trolls on the internet are not always the person that's just yelling bacon in the comments of your vegan post. Sometimes they end up being other vegans, and it's really sad. Most of my experience in the vegan community has been a positive one, but I have seen people trying to rip down other people who are trying to be vegan or plant-based or, help their health in one way or another. And they're in their comments bringing them down, saying horrible things about them, telling them why they're not a good vegan or why they're not vegan when they're trying their best. So my tip to you is to just learn how to ignore that. And it's so hard sometimes. If it's your post, maybe the best thing to do is to delete it, just to not even engage at all. But I really believe there are no perfect vegans. There's always going to be mistakes. maybe there's a medical reason that you need an animal product, like in a medicine or something. Maybe, I don't know. Maybe you eat completely vegan, but you use a lot of plastic. Like there's always going to be somebody complaining about something that you're doing, whether or not it's about the food you're eating, the product you're using, or what. There's always going to be somebody that has something to say about it. And the best thing you can do for yourself is to just brush it off and to ignore them, because that says more about them than it does about you. I really truly believe that every person taking a step to better themselves, better their health, better the environment, try to eat a plant-based or a vegan diet is a step in the right direction for the earth, for yourself. You know, there's only so much you can do and you can't please everybody. So don't feel like you can't be vegan or you can't do this because of what all these other people are saying or judging you about, because it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. And to kind of piggyback off of that, I know when I first went vegan, I had a prejudice, my own personal prejudice, thinking that, oh, well, I can't be vegan because vegans are skinny. Vegans are, that really beautiful person who's thin and tall and doing yoga and like, whatever. Like I felt like I didn't look like that person. Even though I wanted to be that person, I felt like I didn't look like that person. I didn't fit into that mold. And it was hard to kind of get over that at the beginning. But I do think there's a lot more acceptance about that now. I think people realize that not all vegan food is healthy. So not all vegans have to be like thin or whatever, and everybody's body is different. Like maybe you eat healthy, but you still have some extra weight on you. Maybe it's just your body. Like, I don't know. I'm just not into judging what other people do, what other people look like. And I'm not into like feeding into that when other people decide to try to comment on people's bodies or their food or what they're eating or whatever. I think we all want like the general best for the earth and the environment. We all want the best for ourselves. And ultimately, I think if you ask anybody, I would hope they would also want the best for other people as well. So eat what you're going to eat. Do what you're going to do good, but ultimately just ignore the trolls. So that was the fifth mistake that I made, that I listened to them too much. I kind of doubted myself. I didn't have that confidence that I do now, 6 years in, realizing that, you know what, I am grown. I can do whatever I want within reason. But, I'm doing me, okay? I'm going to eat what I want to eat. I'm going to do what I want to do. For the most part, I like to say that, but I still have children and a dog, and I'm going to do what I have to do. Let's say that. I'll do what I have to do. So those are my 5 mistakes that I made when I went vegan 6 years ago. I am very proud to say I have been vegan for 6 years. I have made huge strides in myself, in improving my confidence, my strength, my health. I'm happy to say, I don't know if I mentioned earlier, my cholesterol is the best it has ever been. I think I started the video saying my cholesterol was in the 200s. The last time I had it checked, my total cholesterol was 130, 120 something, 28. So it is I am the healthiest I've ever been. I am the happiest in my health and in my, it's just good. Okay. So to piggyback off of this video, I'm going to follow this up with another one. So keep your eyes out for it. I'm going to talk about the 5 steps on how you can actually succeed and stay consistent on a plant-based diet. So keep your eye out for that. Don't forget to like and subscribe to this video and my channel. I'm so happy to have you here, and stick around so you can see how I continue on my health journey. See you later.